This video is going to look at some word problems related to ratios. Let's go ahead and let's start off with Pine Hill Middle School. There are 300 total students in Pine Hill Middle School. In Zoe's class, 2/5 of the students belong in some sort of club. We need to predict how many students school-wide belong in that club. So, here's what we know. "300 students, two-fifths of them in a club." So, if there are 300 students and 2/5 of them in a club, we're going to start off by drawing a picture of this. We're going to start off by drawing a picture of the ratio. So we know that 2/5 is a ratio, and that means 2 out of every 5 students is in a club, which means we're looking at 5 students total and 2 of them in the club. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw all of the students divided into 5 sections. One, two, three, 4, 5. So it's divided into those 5 sections, and we know that 2/5 of them the ones in this section belong in a club. So, what we need to figure out is how many students is that? Well, we know that total students is 300, and there are 5 students. It's broken up into 5 different sections. So let's take 300 and divide that 300 into these 5 sections. 5 does not go into 3, but it does go into 30, and 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Bring down the 0. We don't need to put 5 into 0. We know that it's not going to go in there any times. So we're going to put a 0 here, and that means that in each one of these sections, there are 60 students. If there are 60 students in each one of these sections, how many students are in the club? Well, that's going to be 60 plus 60, which will be 120 students. Let's take a look at another example. In our next example, we're going to look at a survey. And in a survey, the ratio of students who prefer soccer to baseball was 2 to 3. So, for every 2 students who liked soccer, there were 3 students who liked baseball. We know that 36 people preferred soccer. And what we want to know is how many people preferred baseball. Well, to figure this out, we're going to do the same strategy of drawing the picture. For every 2 people who liked soccer, there were 3 people who liked baseball, which means there were 5 people total. 2 who liked soccer, 3 who liked baseball, because you couldn't vote twice in this survey. So, what we need to do is we need to split this 2 plus 3 into 5 sections. So let's draw our nice long rectangle. And let's split that into the 5 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out how many of these people like soccer and how many liked baseball. We know that 2 people like soccer and 3 people liked baseball. And that's really helpful, but it doesn't get us exactly to our answer. We need to figure out how many people are in one of these rectangles. So if we know for the 2 people who like soccer, there were 36 people who actually said they liked soccer, we need to take that 36 and put it into the soccer section. We need to split that up into 2 pieces. 36 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 times 8 is 16. We're left with 0. So there are 18 people in each one of these rectangles, which means there's also 18 in each of these. So now I just need to add up these 3 18s to figure out how many people liked baseball. I could do that. Or I could say I already know that 18 plus 18 is 36. So I'm going to take this last 18 plus the 36 I already know and add those up. So 6 plus 8 is going to be 14. Three plus 1 is going to be 5. And my answer is going to be 54 people preferred baseball. All right, last example. We're going to look at a box of dog biscuits. And we're actually not going to look at one, we're going to look at 5 boxes of dog biscuits. And in those 5 boxes, of dog biscuits, it actually weighed 57 ounces altogether. Which, if you think about it, isn't really that much. That must be like little tester boxes, but that's okay. We want to know at this same rate how much dog biscuits will be in 8 boxes. How many ounces of dog biscuits will be in 8 boxes? And to figure this out, we are going to need to go back to the strategy of cross-multiplying that I told you about before. Remember where you cross-multiply the diagonal numbers? Well, we know that we can multiply 57 times 8. I'm going to try not to mix markers here. So we need to multiply 57 times 8. And we know that 7 times 8 is 56. 8 times 5 is 40, plus another 5 is 45. So that's going to be 456. Which is great, but we also need to know what random number times 5 is. And we don't know what this number is, so we can't multiply that. But we do know that these are supposed to be equivalent ratios. We want to know, going at the same ratio, what is this going to be? So we know that 5 times whatever needs to be 456. But I don't know what whatever is. So I need to do whatever the opposite of multiplication is. I need to do division. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 456 and I'm going to divide by the number I did not multiply by. 456 divided by 5. 5 goes into 4. It doesn't. But 5 goes into 45 9 times. 5 times 9 is 45. 45 minus 45 is 0. Bring down the 6. 5 goes into 6 one whole time. 5 times 1 is 5. I'm left with a number down here. This remainder, that used to be called a remainder, but you're too old for remainders, is going to come all the way from the bottom, all the way to the top. so high up, it's going to be above even the whole number. We're going to put it in the numerator. 1. This number is the denominator. 5. We'll be getting more practice with that, and maybe not a little bit, but we'll be getting more practice with that for sure. But if there are 5 boxes weighing 57 ounces total, we know that 8 boxes will weigh 91 1/5 of an ounce. Alright, it's time for your question now. At a bakery, they can bake 15 cakes in 3 hours. At this rate, how many cakes can they bake in 8 hours? Be careful. You can use whichever strategy works best for you. Good luck.